Welcome to a special edition of Mississippi Insight. I'm Byron Brown. This evening, we are turning our focus on Mississippi's retail sector. It's a critical part of the state economy, but much of it was hit hard during the worst days of the COVID-19 pandemic. How have small retail businesses recovered, and how are they meeting today's challenges? Inflation, supply chain issues, labor shortages, and much more. With us tonight, Jeff Good. Jeff Good leads Mangia Bene Restaurant Management Group, owner and operator of several popular eateries in the metro area. And Miskelly joins us now by Zoom. He's the director of sales for Miskelly Furniture, a retailer with store operations and locations across central Mississippi. We have a lot to cover and the right people to cover it on this special edition of Mississippi Insight. We want to begin the discussion with a look at the big impact that retailers play in Mississippi overall, the overall economy, and its workforce. Consider these numbers from the National Retail Federation. Their latest data shows more than 38,000 retail businesses across Mississippi, everyone from restaurants to clothing outlets to appliance stores and many more. Those businesses directly employ about 278,000 people in Mississippi. Businesses that support the retail industry employ close to 140,000 more people. Combined, that's about 26% of all jobs in our state. And those jobs, those businesses, generate a total impact of Mississippi's gross domestic product of $23.6 billion annually at last report. But the University Research Center has a mixed outlook for these businesses in its latest Mississippi Economic Outlook. Leisure and hospitality businesses, including food services, are projected to increase payroll by single-digit increases through 2024. But state economists believe retail and wholesale trades will shed jobs this year and in the 2 years that follow. Jeff, you own Bravo Salamukis and Broad Street Baker Company. Talk about the restaurant industry and how it's impacted you here in 2022.
Sure. Oh, where to start? We were talking earlier this evening about the fact that in our industry, it just seems to be nothing but headwinds. If you take a look kind of at the last 5 years of operating restaurants in Jackson, so some of the issues we have are local, some are national. So if we go back 5 years, the beginnings of the issues with the infrastructure, the water problems, we've been dealing with this for a long time, and it really started to happen with more rapidity and more severity about 5 years ago. And so we've had some citywide water outages, we've had a lot of localized breaks, and when that happens in our industry, we have to stop service. If we don't have water, we have to close. That is a profound negative impact. We are a business that needs to earn its keep every day. We're not working on long-term contracts. We're not working from home. We take fresh items, we make food with them, and we serve you, and you pay for it then. So if we're not able to actually transact, we don't have the ability to have something on the shelf. And in Chip's and Caleb's world at Miskelly, you want to sell every day, but if a dining room set stays for a couple days in the warehouse, it's not getting any worse. In our world, everything is fresh and has to move. The other part is all of our employees are hourly employees with the exception of a handful of the salaried management team. So if we're not open, we're not able to pay payroll, and that impacts everyone there. So we had that narrative going on, kind of coming and going, and then when the pandemic hit, it was extraordinarily scary and profound. So, March 18th, 2021, March 18th, 2020 was the day that I wrote a letter to 184 human beings and said that we were closing all 3 of our restaurants indefinitely, and we did not know whether we were going to open it or, again. And what we're going to do was provide you a path to unemployment insurance, do everything we can do to support you, and find our way through this. Because if you think back at the beginning of the pandemic, none of us knew what was going to happen. None of us knew where we were going to go. I was worried that I was going to turn into dust in my shoes or something. So how did we come out of that? I got a phone call from David Roberts, the owner of Corner Market. He called me out of Hattiesburg. Corner Market had taken over the McDade's grocery stores here in Jackson, and he said, I have no bread. You remember all the run on bread and toilet paper and all that? And he said, you've got a bakery. I know you just closed. Would you be interested in partnering? And from that phone call, I called 2 of our bakers, met them at the back door that night, and we started baking bread just for the grocery store. And we did that for a couple weeks. We're doing about 300 to 400 loaves a night, which is a lot for a small bakery like us, and got those out to the grocery stores, and it got us started. And then we were able to start doing some neighborhood delivery. We came up with the idea of getting the kitchen back open and taking orders from a neighborhood so we could deliver all at once. And we would set up at, like in the road on a table, and folks would drive by and we'd put it in their trunk, but they had already pre-ordered all their meals. So we could maybe deliver 60 meals at an average of $40 a family. And that provided the ability to hire back another handful of people at each restaurant. And we featured each restaurant at different times in different neighborhoods. And then we started takeout. And then the dining room was able to reopen. Remember, we went from closed, and they said, okay, you can have 50% capacity in the dining room. You can have 75% capacity. We grew back into it, and all the time, those amazing staff members that we had on team, that to no fault of theirs, we had to let go because there was no revenue. Restaurants are cash in, cash out. There's no mama with a bank account behind us. They all understood, came back, and were joyous in serving. And think about the fact that we were in the middle of a pandemic pre-vaccine, wearing masks, serving people food, taking away dirty plates, dealing with personal space, and doing it joyfully. It really showed me why I've been doing this for almost 3 decades now. It's because of the folks I have a chance to work with. So then you asked me about this year. So we come into post-pandemic, sales start to strengthen up, demand is coming back, the vaccine's fully released, we're coming out of the pandemic, and then we get hit by this incredible inflation. We were dealing with supply chain issues, much like the Miskellys had mentioned with getting furniture and the like to be able to find pieces and parts. Well, we had problems with packaging, we had problems with certain types of food, we have certain, all sorts of individual pieces, parts. But then across the board, prices just went through the roof. And there was the famous time this spring when chicken wings went from what used to be $48 a case to $160 a case for a wing. And that's one of the most popular things at Salamukis. And in the restaurant business, the only thing we have to sell, Byron, is what's on the menu. That's the source of revenue. So all of the costs we have to be covered by that revenue. And if you went to culinary school or you went to restaurant management school up at Ole Miss, they would have a test and they'd say, tell us about a profit and loss statement for a restaurant. What are the percentages of revenue that each area should be? And your quick answer, so you can get an A when you do this, 30 to 35% of every dollar that comes in pays for your food. 30 to 35% of every dollar that comes in pays for your labor. Put those together, it can't equal more than 65% total. That leaves 35% of every dollar that comes in to pay for every other expense that business has. Rent, utilities, repairs, insurance, marketing, overhead, technology, linen, paper, cleaning the restaurant, replacing furniture and fixtures. So if we're not making that top line revenue, we're not able to pay all those bills. That's why we're seeing in our market, if you go to eat at a restaurant, you're seeing the highest prices you've ever seen on a menu. And there's not a single one of us out there that are gouging anybody. All we're trying to do is to live to get over this hill. And I believe that this is temporary. Temporary can be months. I don't think it's years, but months. But at some point in time, supply and demand evens out. Prices will come back down. We can all kind of take a deep breath, bring things back to normality, and keep on going. What I do know is I've been doing this for almost 3 decades in Jackson, Mississippi. What I do know is every day I've gotten back up with the exception of March 18th, and the restaurants have been able to open and go. And what I do know, as long as I turn a faucet and water can come out, I can do my business. And that's one of the reasons that I've tried as a business person here in Jackson to be an activist for our industry and be a voice, is because our industry really needs a voice to be able to talk about the impacts of what happens when the exterior market impacts our business, because we already have enough issues internally.
So many businesses have had problems retaining or even recruiting employees. How have you gone about, or you said you've had a lot of people stay with you, but how have you managed to keep good employees or even recruit employees to come work for you?
Thank you for asking. And during my long monologue there, I failed to mention one other little plate to throw into the juggling mix, which is labor. So through the pandemic, the narrative was out that employees just won't come back to work. And during the time that stimulus was being paid to all Americans, I think there certainly is the truth that many folks chose not to come back to work during the pandemic times because there was enough money at home to stay at home. And you're also taking care of children, stay-at-home learning, and you're taking care of elderly folks, fear of getting sick. So that whole dynamic and support system was there. That is a year and a half ago. Those days are long gone. The tightness of the labor market now, nationwide and here in Jackson, has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of folks have upgraded their jobs. Meaning, during the pandemic, a lot of older folks retired. People in the organizations they're in moved up. The opportunity when they started rehiring was for new people to come in, and the work from home concept. So a lot of people in my industry that have been involved with physical work every day, serving people, doing what we do, said, you know, sitting at a monitor for a few hours a day, plugged in and supporting AT&T or Comcast from home while I'm taking care of my kids, it's a pretty good gig. Or driving Uber, that would be a little different. Or working, you know, for Amazon and doing a delivery driver thing, a lot of new opportunities cropped up. So it took a lot of the hourly labor force out of the jobs they were doing and traded into other jobs. But now, if you look at the labor numbers at the national and state level, we're at full employment. There are not many folks left to work because there's been an expansion and businesses have hired. And again, a whole sector of baby boomers have retired. So where do the new people come from? Working moms? I mean stay-at-home moms, folks that have to have either child or parent care, they're having to stay home. How do you engage someone in my industry to be able to come out of the house to do that? These are the challenges I think we're going to have as a state and a nation, and hopefully some solutions like paid child care, better access to child care, some things like that might unlock the next set of employees. I'm certainly looking for it. And then to very specifically answer your question, how do I do it every day? We're a place that's functional, we care about our employees, we have great product that you don't have to be embarrassed about, and we love our community. And if you like those kind of narratives, it's easy for folks to be attracted, if you want to work in my industry, to work with me. But you may not want to work in our industry, because some days it feels like being a rodeo clown. So it's kind of crazy.
I got you. All right, well, we're going to drill down into some of the particular challenges for retailers when this special edition of Mississippi Insight continues. We'll be right back. We can't possibly talk about the state of today's retail sector in Mississippi without talking about inflation, just as it hits holiday and grocery shoppers and drivers at gas pumps. It takes a big hit on businesses' bottom line. Year-to-year inflation, as measured by the nation's Consumer Price Index, has been above 5% since the summer of 2021. Commodities such as apparel and new vehicles hit inflationary peaks about 12 months ago. But consider food prices alone. Price inflation for all foods remains in double-digit territory as of last month. And prices for food away from home, well, we're still rising at 8% plus as of October. Jeff Good talked a little bit about inflation just a few minutes ago. How did you guys deal with inflation? You were talking a little bit about the price of chicken wings, yep, which was the biggest thing. You said a large chicken wing plate was about $28. Talk about that compared to what a normal plate of chicken wings was.
You just dropped a bomb in the middle of the studio here. A plate of chicken wings at Salamicki's New York's Pizza and Ice Cream Joint was $28. Because at the peak of the price of chicken wings to me, which instead of costing roughly $45, $48 a case for 40 pounds, went to $160 a case. When I had to apply the math to get the margin on top of that, the math actually said I should sell it for $32.50, which is insane. $28 is insane, but it was a momentary time for a couple of weeks where we had to charge a surreal amount for one item because that item had spiked. And that's how a retailer can react to inflation, raise prices. Guess what that does? Raises prices. So the Consumer Price Index continues to go up. You charge me more, I charge you more, you charge me more, I pay more for labor, I do this, I do that, everything becomes more expensive. And the only thing that brings it down, it seems, is once supply and demand equalizes, or what we've seen this summer, to fall, gas prices. So gas prices start to fall, all of a sudden transportation costs fall, landed cost of those chicken wings getting me fall. There's some other things in the food industry. We've dealt with avian flu, which took out a whole bunch of chickens, which made it more expensive. Turkeys were really hard to come by at decent prices this Thanksgiving. I think they put out so much warning. I think people shifted, so maybe we didn't have as big a problem as we were going to have. But we've also had problems with romaine lettuce right now. The fields in Yuma and the Salinas Valley, Mexico, and New Mexico and California, the crops all failed because they got a root disease and a fungus. So the leaves died, the roots died, and they lost all the romaine. So romaine is super expensive right now. And if you go get a Caesar salad somewhere, you'll notice the leaves are super tough and green. It's not the restaurant's fault, it's the supply chain. What do? We try to sell you a different salad. What do we do if it costs a lot? We have to charge more. That's how a retailer has to deal with it, and it's the last thing we want to do.
The large plate of chicken wings for $28. Normal plate used to be what,
$17.95. Yeah.
Did that cause people to buy, or were they not buying the chicken wings at that price?
The most amazing thing, I mentioned how kind my employees and how considerate they were in coming back to work. Let me tell you how kind customers are. Everyone's understood. Everyone's understood that this isn't us, it's the reality, because people are going to the grocery store, they're going to the gas pump, they understand everything's more expensive. Now, if I'm a family coming out to Sal Mickey's, I might choose to do something else but chicken wings the 2 weeks that they were $28. I might have fried cheese. But guess what? Fried cheese is expensive now. It's not $28, but fried cheese is more expensive than chicken wings this week, because every week, it's a roll of the dice.
Right. I'd like to get your thoughts on how to support local retailers. What should our political leaders be doing, and what would you expect them to do to help local retailers during this time of inflation?
One of the nicest things that the Lieutenant Governor and the Secretary of State did the first couple days of the water crisis is they came out to eat in restaurants. And your news crews followed them around. And they ate at Broad Street, they ate at Big Apple Inn, they ate at Johnny T's, they ate at Sugar's Place. They got around town. So showing care and support to raise the issue that it's hard for retailers is one thing. So sometimes words and actions help. Then policy certainly helps. And policy, I think, to try to make sure that let me make it simple for me in Jackson. All I really want is clean water provided daily, a safe environment to operate in, and a vibrant community where the citizenry feels excited about being where they are. If that's a city that we can create over the next 5 years based on the challenges we've had, the opportunity we have to fix it right now and going forward, I'm all in. Cities that are not able to provide those things are going to be very challenged to be able to retain businesses. And that's where you see in urban areas like Jackson around the nation, and what's happened in Jackson recently, the suburbs start nipping at the core, and business does flow where business is appreciated, and that doesn't mean just to be paid attention to, but it means where there's a return on investment. If you need all that money to make that restaurant work, and you can pretty much do it in your sleep if you go across the interstate, as opposed to doing on this side, you might do it on that side versus this side because the effort's the same for you, but the return's more. So I think that's one of the challenges that politicians need to look at, whether it's citywide, countywide, statewide, is if we want to attract business and support retailers, we need to have, good operating environments. If you talk to somebody in the furniture business, they may talk about inventory tax because they're carrying huge thousands and tens and hundreds and thousands of dollars of inventory or cars or something like that. That's not my problem because I only carry fresh food and some wine and some booze. Inventory taxing is not an issue for me. Quality of life is an issue for me.
What would you like from consumers when it comes to your businesses?
Don't be a Karen. So that's the big joke around there about folks that come in and are mean. I really don't see that in Mississippi. You see things nationwide, people on Yelp and those platforms just really tearing down restaurants because, I went in there and I couldn't get this and they cooked this wrong and there wasn't enough people. I saw half the dining room was empty, but they wouldn't seat me. Well, don't you think that restaurant wants to seat you if half the dining room's open? The reason they don't is they don't have enough staff. They're under a lot of duress. So I think what's helpful for consumers is to understand the very unique challenges we're dealing with. That's why I'm so thankful for, Byron, for you and JTV to invite me in to talk a little bit about this because hopefully, my real world experience and what I'm sharing with you is kind of a little peek behind the curtain as to what happens in the restaurant industry. So maybe you do have a little extra appreciation when the young lady in the fast food line pushes that window open one more time and looks out and says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but the ice cream machine's broken." It's not her fault. And she said that probably 50 times today. And, you know, our reaction to say, you know what, I'm sorry to hear that, you know, can I get, you know, a large order of fries instead? Kindness goes a long way.
And it would make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. You share, you know, yeah, what's that Volkswagen commercial? You share a smile, share a smile, share a smile. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're in the holiday shopping season right now. So talk about Miskelly Furniture and just the furniture business today and where we stand, and in your perspective, and what sort of the challenges that you've had to deal with this holiday season, and particularly in 2022.
Yeah, I would say it's been an ongoing challenge for us these last 3 years, but it's definitely, we talk about growth at Miskelly's a lot, and it's not necessarily dollar amount growth. We're really looking to how we can grow for our customers as well. And so one of those things is, yeah, a huge challenge for us is to compete with the Amazons and Wayfairs of the world. And I think that we're realizing that we can actually out Amazon, and out Wayfair, because we can get it to you know, our customers the next day or that day. So that's really been a strategy for us that we've really feel like is a good direction for us.
When you talk about, we just had Black Friday and Cyber Monday. How do you compare when it comes to Black Friday and Cyber Monday as a local retailer, opposed to dealing with, as you mentioned, the big Amazons and the Wayfairs and the national retailers?
Sure. It's, you know, we still saw a great turnout. There was a lot of foot traffic coming in the doors, which has definitely decreased over these last couple of years. People are shopping less stores, but we really feel like they're serious shoppers. And so it's been a good ebb and flow for us these last couple of years to really go back to customer experience and really getting to value those every customer that's walking in the door.
When you talk about that customer experience, is there a difference in, I guess, in generation and the type of customer? I mean, I think older customers are used to going to the stores. Younger folks are, you like to click it and want it sent to their home. So how do you deal with those different challenges that you're doing, or demographics?
Sure. Yeah, I would say I wouldn't even really wouldn't even discriminate on the type of person that's coming in or not coming in with information from online. A lot of people are coming in with some kind of information before they ever walk into our stores. And so we're really just trying to educate our teams to say, you know, what did bring you in today, and, you know, where have you been shopping? Because 99% of the time somebody's already been shopping online, and they've been looking online at least. So it's definitely changed our experience overall, but it's definitely kept things simple for us.
Is there advantage to coming into the store actually being the touch and feel the furniture, opposed to ordering online and not really knowing what you're going to get in the box?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're definitely we're trying to adjust to the climate of the digital climate, but at the same time, we truly believe that coming in and, you know, sitting down on your sofa and laying down on a mattress is really important to figure out, you know, the right look and feel, and you know, for customers to really know what they're going to get before they put it in their homes.
And when you look into the future, as a lot of people move more into online and everything else, how do you sustain a long-term plan as a box store, so to speak?
Sure. Yeah. You know, we really have always focused on our market and, you know, really our customers and our community. And we take that very seriously. And, you know, I think we're just trying to figure out how we can give our local community the best experience. We're not trying to go and, you know, compete with people, you know, in New York and LA. We're just trying to make sure that our customer base can be able to shop online through us and be able to be served actually in a quicker way than they would with Amazon or Wayfair.
Talk about employees and the turnover and retaining and even getting good employees. A lot of that particularly during COVID, lost workers, and then you had to get workers. How did you survive that and go through that?
Yeah, I would say that was one of the biggest challenges that I've personally been faced with in my young career is, you know, when in 2021, everything kind of started hitting things, you really had to make some decisions on what you're going to do with staffing and, where are we going to go as a business. And I will tell you that I will forever be appreciative of our team members through that time that really trusted us and trusted some of the things that we were really advising them to do. And it really turned out to be a win for us. I would say, over 80% of our staff is still there. That was there in 2019. And, that's been a lot of, we hadn't had layoffs. We've actually added jobs. And so it's definitely been a challenge finding drivers and salespeople. And, we're just in a different climate. But it's definitely been something that we've really been focusing on. How can we give people a great job and somewhere that they really feel valued and appreciated? And so that's been a focus for us definitely these last 3 years.
Is it because you've been a longstanding company in the community that you've been able to retain so many workers, or what do you contribute to the fact that you were in that position?
Yeah, I really, everything that we do, we try to base out of servant leadership. And, I think during these last 3 years, as I've referred to a couple of times, that's something we've really gone back to the core of and just said, how can we continue to serve our team members? But, even more importantly, how can we give them comfort during these times? And, what are things that we can do to make sure that, everybody, one of our values is succeeding together. And so one of those things that we've really tried to focus on is how can we succeed together as a company? And that's financially as well. And so we really try to take care of our team members.
As we go into a new year and the state lawmakers go back up to the Capitol, what would you like to see from them that could help local retailers and small businesses in our state prosper in the coming year?
Yeah, that's a weighted question, but I would say, we, as far as regulations go in the retail sector, I feel like we've been pretty blessed in that regard. And, it's been any time that we've ever, really been looking for something specific on something like that. It seems like, Mississippi and the city of Pearl. And, really I can't think of many things that have been a negative for us in that regard. So that's been a huge a blessing that we definitely don't take for granted.
What about from consumers? What would you need from consumers as far as out there to support local businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say continue to trust the people that have been there, and that we're going to continue to stand behind our products. And that's just something in a day and age that brands are becoming not as relevant anymore, and it's really become about price points and things of that nature. But I think people are still looking for that connection to what they're buying, and so that's what we're going to continue to do, is just figure out how can we connect with the community. What are things that our community expect from us and desire from us, and we want to continue to give them that. And we believe that everything else will be taken care of if we continue to take care of our community the way we know we're supposed to.
How has inflation impacted your business, and what impact, and how's it driving prices up, or is it not driving your prices up?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a major challenge for us, which we actually kind of saw some things before probably some other sectors did. Our shipping cost and trucking costs, all that started going up pretty quickly at the start of the pandemic. So we've actually seen some price deflation in the last couple of months, which has been interesting for us. But at the same time, it's been very interesting that my dad says it all the time that people used to back up their $5,000 pickup trucks, pick up their $399 sofa, and now they're backing up their $50,000 pickup truck or more, still picking up a $399 sofa. So there's been in the furniture industry, there's been some just price consistency for a long time, and so I think some of that was expected. But yeah, like I said, we're actually seeing some price deflation right now. So it's and we're definitely passing that on to our consumers.
I know there was a lot of talk that there was inventory issues in the past, and are you guys overstocked now, or where do you stand as far as inventory is concerned?
Yeah, our merchandisers, we actually just talked last week, and they have been unbelievable during this time. They really actually got ahead of things during the pandemic, really ordered up when goods were tougher to come by. And now we're, starting to run at better capacity and a leaner capacity as well. But we really feel like we've got the right goods in stock now, and so we've really seen an uptick on our in-stock goods. So we've got a warehouse full of inventory, but at the same time we've got great inventory. So it's been our merchandisers have done really well during this time.
What are consumers? What are they looking for right now, or what do they want to purchase? Is it bedding? Is it couches and chairs? What are they really looking for?
They're looking to buy everything. No, it's been definitely it's been interesting these last couple months. We've seen a lot of people investing in sleep and in their mattresses, and it's something that we really believe in at Miskelly's. We've got a whole division just dedicated to our bedding department, our sleep department. That we really believe that if people will invest in a better night's sleep, that it will, really advance their life and, give them value. So that's definitely something that's we've seen continue to grow.
All right, Caleb, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you taking
thank you.
2 days to get this done, but we got it done. So hopefully things will be good tonight. We thank you for your time and your effort and working with us on Zoom.
Yep. Thank you so much, Byron.
All right, take care. That's all of our time tonight, but watch for an extended version of this special edition on our website at WJTV.com. And we'll be back every Sunday with more of the political and current affairs coverage that you demand. I'm Byron Brown. From all of us here at 12 News, make it a good night.